Okay, so I thought I'd do a video of how to make oxtail. So this is a kind of a Caribbean, I guess, Jamaican style cooking. I got this recipe loosely off of Sal's mum, so shout out to Dulcie. So firstly, we've got oxtail in the bag. We've got, just bought this from the Halal Meat Market, £15 worth of oxtail. So I'm not sure what weight that is, but it's a fair amount. It's a good amount of oxtail, as you can see in the bag. You get them to cut it straight off of the oxtail, and they actually slice, cut any of the fat off. Well, some of these pieces have still got some on, so I might actually trim some of that off as well. But you get them to cut them down into even sized pieces, which is really nice. So it all cooks evenly, because otherwise you end up with oxtails, really big pieces of oxtail and some really small ones at the end. But yeah, get them to slice up the pieces. So there's the oxtail. So we're going to season that first. I would have seasoned this last night and had it in the fridge overnight, which works really, really well because it just really absorbs all of those lovely flavors. But I didn't get a chance to. It doesn't matter. We're going to season it, leave it in the fridge for, or just leave it out actually at room temperature, just letting the seasoning just kind of work its magic whilst we're prepping the other ingredients. So what we're going to be seasoning it with, we're going to be seasoning it with oxtail seasoning. Stands to reason, making oxtail. We've got some ground pimento here as well, so we're going to use pimento, just a little piece of that. I like to use some Worcester sauce as well, which is really cool, just to kind of cut the rawness of the meat, and it really seasons it nice, gives it a nice flavour. I'm running a little bit low on the Liam Perrins there. And also some vinegar. I've got this from Robin's Pie and Mash. Shout out to Robin's Pie and Mash. So yeah, just any bit of vinegar. You can use both. You can use one or the other. It doesn't matter. Whatever you've got in the cupboard, it really doesn't matter. Just something just to really season that meat and just get in there and just cut that rawness of the meat. So we're going to use that. We've got some salt. We've got some pepper. We're going to just use some salt and pepper on the meat as well. And we're going to go ahead and season that meat now. So I'm going to do that and then see you on the other side. Okay, so to season, we're just going to be pouring some of the seasoning over, because I guess you're going to ask me how much seasoning. I don't measure anything out. So dash some seasoning over, good amount. It's probably about a decent. You don't want to go too crazy, too much seasoning. So you can see how much roughly I've just shaken on there. Pimento as well, don't want to go too mad, but just a little bit of pimento, just to give it a little bit of flavor. Don't want to go too crazy. The Worcester sauce is lacking a little bit. So we're just going to put whatever we got left in that bottle. And then we're going to pop some of the vinegar over as well. So you can't really put too much of this on. I don't really know how much, but again, just give it a good dousing of vinegar. Get that in there as well. And then what we're going to also do is get some salt. Good pinch of salt. I don't know how much, but you don't want to go too much because there's salt in the seasoning. Oxtail seasoning usually has salt in the ingredients somewhere, so don't go too much, but that's probably enough. And I can't really do this without putting the phone down, but I'm just going to grind some peppercorns over there as well. Pretend I did that. So just put a bit of pepper on it as well. Get your hands in there, mix it all together nicely. Just leave it in the bag, put it on the side. You obviously let it get up to room temperature, because I've just taken this out of the fridge. Okay, cool. And then we'll get on to prepping the rest. Okay, so once you've I just shook the bag basically. I didn't need to really get my hands in there, but just lift the bag up and hold it at the bottom and just give it a good old shake, and just get all seasoning across all of the meat. So should look like that once it's all seasoned. So we're just going to leave that. Don't need to do anything with it. Like I said, you're going to do this, put that in the fridge one night, two nights even, if you want. Season it, get that season that will really seep into the meat, and all that salt and all that flavor and seasoning will just kick into the meat, and it will be wicked, really nice and tender, but it'll still be okay. Unfortunately, I just didn't get a chance to do that yesterday. I was too tired. Right, so here's the stuff we've used. We've used the oxtail seasoning, some pepper, some ground pimento. We've used the vinegar. We've used up all of the Worcester sauce, and we used some salt as well, just to season all that meat. Right, okay, so what have we got left to do? So here is the other ingredients that we're going to be putting in today. So this stuff now we're going to be chopping up. So we've got an onion, we've got some garlic, we've got some spring onion, We got some tomatoes. We're going to use a couple of tomatoes, 2 or 3 of these. Depends really how tomato you like it. Also got some tomato puree as well. We've got one we're running out of, so I might use that one up first. Maybe that one, if I don't need it, I will. We've got some carrots as well. Get some carrots sliced up in there. A couple of carrots, couple of tomatoes, 2 or 3 tomatoes, couple of carrots, garlic, onion, and some spring onion as well. We don't need to use too much of both, either of, either use, you can use one or the other if you want. I like to use a little bit of onion and some spring onion as well. But yeah, you can use either or really, whatever you've got. You don't have to use spring onion if you ain't got any. Beef oxo cubes as well. We're going to be using some beef oxo cube as well. And the last thing we've got is a little bit of browning. Don't worry if you don't have this. I mean, this is a bit of a random thing. I bought this one, was actually in Jamaica. I'm not going to lie, because I couldn't find it over here. But anyway, you don't need to use this. It's just a food coloring. It's nothing special, guys. It just makes it nice and dark and brown. It's good for when you're doing the chicken dishes and things like that as well, because you want them to look nice and brown. And my favorite thing ever, woo, hot pepper sauce, baby. Got to get some of this in there as well. Now, it depends on how spicy, because it says at the bottom there, wickedly hot and spicy. It depends how hot you like it as to how much of this you add. Don't go mad. Like, you can literally just use half a teaspoonful of that stuff, and that's going to give you enough kick in the whole meal. But don't go too crazy. Just do it to taste, and you can always add it on later on. So put it on the table for people to add to their food. So always bear that in mind. Don't want it too powerful. So this is what we're going to use now. There's one other thing I haven't really said here, but you don't need to use hot pepper sauce as well. If you've got some chili peppers, or you got some like Scotch bonnets, or some peppers you can add to it. Even if you've got just the bell peppers and you want to add some pepper into it as well, you can do that. If you don't like it too spicy, but just get that nice pepper flavor through it as well, you can do that. This is all cool. So that's everything. There's one thing I've missed here. I just remembered, and I'm going to just grab it from over here. A nice little bit of red wine. As you can see, it's already open bottle there. He had a glass of that last night. So going to get some red wine in there as well, just to richen up the sauce. And we're going to show you how to do that as well. And that's it. Right, let's get all this chopped up, and then we'll see you on the other side. Okay, so we're back. So I've chopped up 2 carrots, or it was about 1.5 carrots, 2 tomatoes. It was 3 spring onions, and 4 cloves of garlic. Again, you can freestyle this, use as much or as little as you like. Just get to the point where you got the right amount. And also 1 onion as well. So we just chopped that up. So that's it, really. Just chop the veg. That's all I did. And I've just popped the oxo cube in there, ready to pour some boiling water in there and get that melted down. One thing I forgot as well, yes, we do need some olive oil, so we've got some of that as well. And we've got our pot on the hob ready to go. And we're going to heat that up, and I'm going to start getting this stuff in the pot. Okay, so we've got the pot on the hob on quite a medium to high heat. Don't want it too high. Just heating up the oil there. You only need a little bit of oil, don't need too much. And we're just going to put the onions in. Now, important thing here, guys, I don't know, you probably know how to do this. You're not frying the onions. Yeah, we're just sauteing them and just softening them so they go kind of clear and opaque, right? That's all we're trying to do. We're not trying to fry them, so that's why it's important. You don't have it too high. I'll turn it down a little bit now. And we pop the lid on here just to sweat out those onions a little bit. All right, so the next bit is we've been just making sure that these onions are just sweating out a little bit. And you can see that there, they're just soft and starting to go a little bit opaque in there. So what we're going to do next is just get the garlic and the spring onions. I didn't put the spring onions in straight away because I think they take a little bit less time to sort of cook down. So we're going to pop them in now, the spring onions, with the garlic as well. Just going to pop the garlic in there. And we're going to just, again, same thing, just give that a little stir up. Just leave that on the hob, nice and low heat. Don't want it too hot at all. Don't want to be frying this stuff. Just leave that on the hob for a bit longer. Put that back on, and we'll see you on the other side. Okay, so we're just going to check to see how this is getting on, and yeah, it's looking good. So Just want to make sure it's just softening down the garlic and the spring onion as well, so that looks good. Meanwhile, while we're waiting for that, what I'm going to do is I've already put some boiling water into the Oxtail cube mixture, as you can see. So we've got the Oxtail cube already nicely melted down in there. And at this point, what I do is, you don't have to do this, but I'm just going to add a little bit of browning in here, just a little drop of that. I don't think I'm going to be able to open this with one hand. Hold on. Yep, there we go. So we opened the browning bottle. That's one of the hardest things to ever open. If you have browning, you know how difficult that is. Right, so we're just going to pop a little bit of that in there. So this is just to darken up the sauce. But to be honest with you, because I'm using some of the red wine as well, that should also make that sauce nice and rich. So we're just going to pop that in there. And what I also do here as well is just get some of the tomato puree. In that goes. I mean, again, amount-wise, maybe that was probably about a tablespoon. I guess maybe half a tablespoon, I guess. Yeah, you don't need to measure this stuff out. And then we're gonna just give that a nice little stir. That's cool. Stir that up nicely. All right, I might even put a little bit more of the tomato puree in there as well. I reckon I'm gonna add some more, and then we're gonna add this into there. Okay, so now, yeah, it's looking good. Just get a water in there. Don't want that to fry. That's okay, that's fine. Yeah, that's nice and softened now, as you can see. So that's all looking good. And over the cooking, because if you cook this for a long while, so all these onions will just break down into sauce, basically. You won't even see those at the end. So now we're going to get our browning with the Oxtail cube with some tomato puree and pop it in there. To be fair, the tomato puree doesn't really matter where you add it. You can add it in there afterwards or before. As you can see, we've got some stuff in there, so I'm just going to rinse this out. Pop some water in here. Excuse the mess in the sink. Nice. Just get a little bit of boiling water in there. So rinse that all out, get all that flavour out. Okay, so we are now going to add to this the rest of our chopped vegetables. So in goes the tomatoes and the carrots, and I'll pop those in there, and we're going to need some more boiling water, so I'm just going to grab some of that. Okay, so I added another squeeze of tomato puree in there, and I've just got some more boiling water. Just going to add in there as well. We're going to turn the heat up now. Just make sure that the water covers all of that veg, which it does, which is good. All right, so now this bit is the moment when we're going to get, you don't have to do this bit, again, this is something I do, but these tomatoes, their skins are a bit tough. So I'm going to just turn the heat up really high till the point where these skins start to peel off, and then we're just going to take them out. You don't have to. Probably in the OG Jamaican style, Caribbean style cooking, they just leave it in there for extra flavour. Everything's extra flavour, so they'd just be leaving that in there. They wouldn't really care about that. But no, I like to take it out. I don't like biting on that when I'm eating my food, to bite on some chewy tomato skin. So we're just going to turn the heat up really high, and we're going to start getting this bubbling, and then we're going to peel off those skins. Okay, so now we get it nice and bubbling and hot. Turning up the heat, and the skins aren't still not ready to peel off, but they will be soon. The other thing we're going to do now, this is where we add the red wine and we just reduce it. So let's, whilst that's nice and hot, grab the red wine. I don't really measure anything, so we're just going to good glug of red wine in there. Get up the heat nice and hot. As you can see, the colour just changes there, nice and dark. Get a nice dark colour, deep red colour. And we're just going to keep stirring that, and now leaving that until those skins are ready to peel. Leave the lid off at this point because you can see all the steam coming off. So we're just going to make sure that all steams off, all the alcohol. And we just leave behind that lovely red, rich flavour. Right, so now we're ready to just take these skins off. And if you have a look in here, you'll see that they're starting to kind of peel off already off of the back of the tomatoes. So I just get a fork and a spoon, just get them out, as you can see, and just flip them over. Just peel that skin off the back of the tomato to get rid of it and take it out of your cooking. And once you've done that for all of the tomatoes, you're then ready to add the next bit, which is going to be the seasoning, because you've got to make sure that you're at least giving this a little bit of salt and pepper as well to taste, to make sure this actually tastes good. So that's what I will do now, just add a little bit of salt and pepper in there. So I'm just going to grab the pepper, grab some salt. Don't have to go too mad, just a little bit of salt in here. It's just some seasoning and a little bit of pepper in there as well. Just get your spoon, give it a little stir, and just make sure that because this should actually taste quite good. You should at least have the taste of some of the vegetables in there. You've got the stock in there as well, remember. We just take a little taste of that. Yeah, the red wine as well in there as well, so that's tasting nice. So just a little bit of seasoning to taste. Take off the skins of all the tomatoes, which I'm gonna do now, and then we'll be ready to add the meat. Okay, so we're ready now to add the final ingredient. As you'll see, this sauce already is starting to thicken, just from where it's been cooking there. But yeah, so that's nearly ready to go. We're literally now, there's a couple more things that we're gonna add, and that is, I've missed one key ingredient. And look how sorry for itself that looks. That is thyme, guys, that is thyme. Yes, it's come out of the garden this time of year, excuse the pun. There isn't much of this stuff, and it's a rarity, and that's all I've got. So in it goes, a couple of bits of thyme. Key ingredient though, don't miss out on some fresh thyme. You can buy it in the supermarket or just grow it in your garden or on your windowsill. It's great, really, really nice. So it's already starting to thicken up a little bit as well. This is the point when we're gonna add the meat in a second. I'm just gonna add some more boiling water now as well, because it is getting to the point where it's starting to thicken, and some of that water's already evaporated off where we've just been cooking it down there. Taking all the skins off of the tomatoes, as you'll see, so we don't have any more skins on our tomatoes. They will break down, all of that will break down, except the carrots. You'll hopefully see the carrots at the end. So this is the bit where I'm gonna add a little bit of the hot pepper sauce. Remember I said be careful with this, it is powerful. So I'm just going to be popping on a little bit on the spoon to show you the kind of amounts that we are talking about. That's enough. All right, don't go crazy. That's probably enough, depending how, oops, sorry, steam up the camera. It's depending how spicy, and how hot you like it. I would say just don't go too crazy with the hot pepper sauce. You can always add some more in later. And that's that. Now, last thing, but not least, in goes the meat. So we're just gonna pop that in there. Be careful you don't splash it all over yourself. And in that goes. All we gotta do now is you don't have to start moving things around and start pushing, poking, and that's it. Just make sure it's covered. That's it, just make sure. And if it's not enough water to cover the meat, add some more water, that's it. Just get some more boiling water, add it in there so it covers the meat. And there's nothing else you need to do, guys. That is it. Get the lid, put it on top, lower the heat down to about a 5, halfway, something like that, sort of a medium heat, and come back in a couple of hours to taste. Okay, so it's been cooking for about an hour, and we're just gonna check to see how it's getting on. Haven't touched it yet. And oh, it's looking good. So let's just check it out. So yeah, it's looking nice. Just gonna have a quick look and see some of the meat is coming away from the bone there as well. So it's cooking nicely. It's still got a long way to go, because I can still feel the meat's tough. Obviously, it does need a lot of cooking. So we're gonna leave that. What you can see though is, and I actually didn't cut so much of this fat off. It depends. Sometimes the butchers are good at it, but this time there's quite a lot of fat on the top there. You can see that. So all we're gonna do is just get a little cup, get a little get a spoon, and we're just gonna take some of that off the top by doing that. Just push the back of the spoon in and just skim off the fat, like so. Don't want to be eating that, so yeah, it's just a good idea to just get as much as you can off without getting any of the flavouring, you know, off, any of the seasoning. You just see all that is just oil. So we're just going to take the oil off at the top and then discard of that. One other thing I'm going to do as well is, because somebody I know likes dumplings, so we're going to add some dumplings into this one as well. We're going to do that in a minute. We'll make some dumplings, some dumpling mixture. And the other thing as well, we're going to add in some butter beans. These are really nice as well, so just add these in. You don't need to add these until the end, so I forgot about mentioning it earlier, but we're going to add them in a little while when we add the dumplings in. All right, cool. So we're going to leave it for another hour or so. Okay, we're back. It's been cooking for another 45 minutes, I want to say. I turned it right down nice and low because I didn't want it to cook too much, too fast. So we wanted to go nice and slowly, so put it down to like number 4. So yeah, just giving it a stir. Taking a lot of the oil off as well, so just make sure you do that. You can see there's still a little bit on the top, but you can take some more off at the end. It's not a problem. I got most of it off. That's the main thing. So yeah, we're looking at it now. It looks really nice. The meat you can start to see is getting really soft, starting to come away from the bone. So that's a good sign that the meat's nice and tender. As you can see, there's just the carrots left. That's all you can see in there. The sauce will start to thicken once we put the dumplings in, which we're going to make now, and also once we put the butter beans in as well. Sorry, the camera's got a little bit steamed up there. Right, so that's where we are with that. It's all good. Butter beans we're going to add, and we're just about to make some dumplings. So you get yourself some plain flour, pop it in a bowl, freestyle it. I don't know, that will probably make about 8, 10 dumplings or so, roughly. So you just make a little bit of well in the middle, put some water in there, and then just basically just start stirring them together, which I'm going to need to put my phone down for, and then I'll show you once we've made the mixture and we start kneading it. Okay, so we just started pouring some water in there, and we can start to see it gets a little bit clumpy. Add a little bit more. I'm just using a spoon at this point just to stir it, but you know, get your hands in there straight away if you want, by all means. It doesn't matter, it's all good. But yeah, I'm just going to stir this a little bit until we start seeing it form into a bit of a dough ball. I'm sure you lot know how to make this. Is not difficult. Yeah, so we're just going to give that a little bit more stir, and then maybe a little bit more water in there, and then we're going to get our hands stuck in. So get prepared to get messy. It's what it's all about. Get your hands stuck in there and really start kneading this out into a ball, and then we can start making our dumplings. And if you need to, if it's a little bit wet or sticky still, just add in some more flour. Just get a little bit more flour and add it into the mixture. Right, I'm gonna put the phone down and see you other side once I've turned this into a ball. Okay, so I've just been kneading this into a dough ball. So that's all you got to do, just working the flour into it. Get it to the point where it's nice and soft, and all you do is you break it up into little pieces. So we're just going to take a piece off. I can do it with one hand. I'm going to break it into a little ball, and in your hand you just want to make it into the shape of a dumpling. Nice. Done. Got the shape of a dumpling. Get them, pop them to the side, and rinse and repeat. Turn all that into those. Okay, and then our dumplings are done. So we're now gonna just get each dumpling and make sure they're about the same size as well, so they cook evenly. Yeah, so just make sure that you've got them all around about the same thickness, same size, little dumplings. I didn't add any salt to the flour, but you can if you want, just to season it up a little bit. I think there's enough seasoning in the actual oxtail, so I think that should be all right. So we're just gonna get these, and we're gonna pop them around the edge of the oxtail. So kind of would be using 2 hands to do this, but in they will go. Then you will get your spoon, and you will just make sure that they just disappear underneath or into the sauce. Yeah, so each dumpling goes in, pop, and just make sure it goes underneath. Rinse and repeat until it's done. So now the dumplings are all in, and you can't see them, but trust me, There we go. They're in there, so you tuck them down the sides. What we're going to do now is we're going to get the butter beans, which I've already opened, drained off any of the juices, and we're just going to go ahead and throw our butter beans in. That's all of them. And give that a little stir. Don't, you have to go crazy, just like make sure the butter beans, again, just kind of just drop underneath the water level, just to make sure, or should I say the gravy level, I guess. But yeah, just make sure that the butter beans are in there, because again, you want them to cook. So yeah, so we've been cooking now for, this is literally 2 hours exactly. This has been on for, and that's when I've just put the dumplings in and put the butter beans in. So it's just rough. You want to just check your meat, just taste a little bit, break a little piece off. As you can see, that's coming away from the bone nicely there. So, I know that's nice and tender. But yeah, I've already tasted a piece, but taste the piece of the meat, break it off, have a little, yeah, good. Taste a little bit of the meat, just to make sure it's all soft and tender. It is. All we're doing now, as I said, you can see the end up with the carrots in there. All we're going to do now is I'm going to turn up the heat just a little bit. I'm going to go to about 5 or 6, and I'm just going to let the butter beans and the dumplings cook. Pop the lid back on just a little bit though. I don't want it too tight, because I want to reduce some of this sort of juice down. So we want this to reduce a little bit of that sauce to just thicken up a little bit. It will thicken, don't worry about it. Might look a little bit loose now, but it will thicken as those dumplings start to cook and the butter beans start to break down a little bit. So just pop the lid back on, slightly open, maybe another 20 minutes, half an hour, and we'll check in. Okay, about another 35, 40 minutes have passed, something like that. I don't even know, I'm not even keeping track. 45 minutes maybe. So let's have a look and see how it's gone. So I left it on number 6, left the lid partially open, so there's some of the steam out there. Let's just see what we've got going on. Looking good, man, looking good. So just going to give it a nice stir now. As you can see already, the sauce is thickened up, and yeah, that looks good, man. That looks really good. So give it a good stir. I mean, it doesn't matter even if you have a little bit of, you see that where it's just cooked the dumpling there, that's fine. It's all nice, it's all good flavour, where the dumpling just stuck there to the pan a little bit. You see that sauce just thickening as we're stirring it. The more we stir it, you don't want to stir it too much, you don't want the meat to break up too much, you don't want the oxtail to kind of break away from the bone, but it's okay, it doesn't matter if it does. It is what it is, guys, it is what it is. Right, there we go, give it a good stir. I would be holding the pot with my other hand here, to make sure I give it a proper stir, so it's quite difficult trying to stir it with one hand holding the camera. But as you can see, let's just really get a good look at all that gravy and how nice and thick it is. And you can see the dumplings are cooked as well. The butter beans are cooked, and the meat looks really nice and tender as well. And again, you can just get a little piece, get your fork, and just kind of break it away. Can't do this with one hand, but yeah, break it away, have a little taste of the meat. Yeah, you can see how easy that is, just breaking away. Like, I didn't even need to cut that. It's just broken away nicely. Oh, damn, that tastes good. All right, pretty much, well, not pretty much, that's it. It's done. So oxtail and dumplings, ready. Serve it with some rice, maybe rice and peas if you want. I like plain rice with it, just a basmati or what, just a white rice, long grain, something like that. Nice plain white rice. Turn it down really low. Just leave it now to kind of just, not even simmer really, just keeping it warm until it's ready to eat. I mean, it's ready to eat right now. So yeah, there we go. Nice.